Yo guys, sorry you already know that today I'm here to recap week 18 of my 2025 video game backlog journey. Link in the description if you need the full explanation as to this video series and all the games on it. We are in the month of May. That is crazy. This year is flying by, but this was a pretty productive week. So as always, I am going to start by recapping the previous week in terms of what I played and any other major events. Then I will dedicate a section of the video to dive deeper into the games that I played, and then I will preview the upcoming week for any special things happening. So I would say that this past week was maybe one of my best weeks in terms of the amount of hours that I put into games. I'm going to have plenty of stuff to talk about, and yeah, that starts with the games that we still have on the backlog. So I am still playing Chrono Trigger. I am about 10 hours in, I would say. I'm playing it pretty consistently, and I'm having a blast. Last of Us Part 2, as I predicted, this is the final week that I'm going to be talking about that because I did complete it. That is 30 hours that gets taken off this total time, so now we are down to 1,026 hours. The fact that there's still 1,000 hours does, give me a little bit of pause, but, we'll see how that goes moving forward. But this week was mostly categorized by some of the new games that I played. I put a few more hours into Split Fiction. I put a few more hours into South of Midnight. I did put a few more hours into Blueprints, despite the fact that I was talking about potentially dropping it. I did not do that. And then I put a few hours into Clair Obscur Expedition 33, and I'm really excited to talk about all of these. So, I don't think there was anything else that really happened over the past week. We are a few weeks out from any games. Actually, we're basically like a month out from any new games coming out that I am interested in. So I'm hoping to use this month to clear out a good chunk of this backlog if I can. But yeah, I don't think there was any major events. I am actually recording this. So, I record these on Fridays and then upload them on Saturdays, the day that you see them. And today, on the Friday that I'm recording this, I took off work so I could take my cat to the vet. And so I have a bunch of free hours to put some gaming hours in tonight, as well as some this weekend. And yeah, I'm very, very confident that this is going to be a good month for the backlog. So let's go ahead and immediately transition into each of the games that I did play. And I think I'm just going to start with just all of the new games, and then we will go to the backlog. So yeah, let's start with Split Fiction, just because I feel like I haven't checked in a little while. As far as I can tell, me and RTK are very close to the end of the game. I think there is one major section that we were in the middle of that should be the end. There might be a final boss of sorts afterwards, and there was a side story that we missed that I think we're going to try and go back and play. So that is where we are with Split Fiction. It is a really fantastic game. It's a lot of fun. A lot of the gameplay elements are really good and varied. It's a good platforming game. It's fun to play with somebody. I will say, when this game came out, I feel like I was seeing a lot of high praise for it and seeing that it was so much better than It Takes Two, and that was already a good game and this is just better. I don't know if I feel that way. I'm interested. I think I actually want to check in with RTK to see how he feels, but I think It Takes Two had a little bit more whimsy and I don't want to say it was more creative, but it the ways that it changed things up felt a little bit more fun to me. Maybe it's because I just knew what to expect out of Split Fiction after that, and so it didn't blow me away as much, or it hasn't so far. But it's still a lot of fun, and I would still put them kind of next to each other if we were ranking them in an overall sort of games list. They would be right next to each other. But this Split Fiction is not miles better than It Takes Two for me. The characters are a little bit better. They're not quite as annoying, but yeah, that would be my only thing that I want to point out. But it is still a really fun game, and I'm not sure when we are planning on playing it next, but I'm pretty sure the next time we play it might be the last time we play it, so that will soon be a finished game. Next, I'm going to move on to Blueprints, because I wanted to give the update, because last week I was just I'm not finding any puzzles to solve. I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it, but I started doing something, and this might be, I don't know, a little sacrilegious to puzzle purists out there or something, but I watched a couple speed runs, and I watched just a couple of things, and maybe looked up the answer to a puzzle or two, and I think just getting nudges in the right direction and then still finding stuff out for myself has been a really good balance for me to play this game. Watching a speed run, I saw a way of essentially how you get to room 46, which is the main thing that I'm focusing on doing. And because I know like one of the ways, I was able to also look at a speedrun and then see something that happened and being like, oh, I have access to do that thing already, and then get to a whole new area. And so I'm getting nudges to go to like new areas, but I'm still doing a lot of exploration and puzzle solving for myself. And I think there's a nice balance for me between getting spoon-fed a little bit of information and a little bit of like, oh, here's what this puzzle means or something like that, while still like feeling like I have enough freedom to figure some things out on my own. It's been a really good balance, and it has sort of gotten me back on track with playing Blueprints. It's still a really good game. I am just not smart enough to figure everything out on my own, and getting nudges in the right direction has helped keep the game fun for me, so now I no longer feel like I am going to drop it. I do know that there are things to be done even after you find room 46. I don't know if I am going to do that or not. I feel like once I get an ending and I see credits, that might be good enough for me, and then I can just dive into YouTube videos to tell me everything that I missed out on. So that might be the path that I take there. Not entirely sure, but I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I expect to be playing it for a while because I know it is a pretty long game, and it also has not been a priority for me, just because of other things. Those other things being mainly South of Midnight. So we're going to go ahead and talk about South of Midnight because this game is a lot of fun. I've been, singing its praises the last couple weeks. It's, a third-person action game. It's really not that hard. It is kind of driven by the narrative, the characters. There's some pretty cool, like, lore, like mythological. There's like a word that I'm trying to think of that is along the lines like mythological, like the creatures and like stuff that you deal with there is pretty cool. You learn the backstories of some of these characters and how they relate to like the mythology like of the game, and it's really, really neat. South of Midnight is a game that I feel like is already very overlooked and is going to continue to be very overlooked, because it isn't reinventing the wheel. It's not going to be like a game of the year of any sorts, but it's just a really good game, and I do think that it's worth playing. It's not that long. I looked up how many chapters there are, and that has helped inform me that I'm like definitely closer to the end than I am the beginning. So that is really, really neat. Something that I should have brought up in the first section of the video is something that I did start doing is I have started kind of using, not guides per se, but I like checking in like how many chapters something has, or how, like, what section of the game I am in compared to like how many more there are left to go. Just because I feel like my brain is very good at it thrives on being on like checkpoints and like reaching something like small. So if it's like the end of a level or the end of a chapter or something like that, like that's like, my brain gets those happy little whatever things that fire off. So, and even more so if I'm like knowing that like how, like where the end point of the game is, it's been really helpful to be like, ooh, I'm at chapter 7 and I know there's this many chapters, I'm so much closer, and then that might motivate me to do like another one or something. And I've been doing that with basically all of the games. I did it with I've only done it with South of Midnight, and I was doing it with Last of Us Part 2 as well as Chrono Trigger. So it's something that has been helping me. It's not like a walkthrough to help guide me in the right direction. It's just like a checklist to be like, all right, what area am I at and how much further do I have to go? Because that helps me mentally prepare for like, that way I feel like it helps me not get disappointed if I'm not like making as much progress. If I look up and see that it's like a 50-hour game, that's part of what the playtime hours also helps with. And I put 2 hours into it and I have like 10 hours of total playtime. I can't be disappointed that I'm not like halfway through, because like I know that going in. Setting the expectation, I think, really helps my mindset when it comes to playing through these games. But yeah, South of Midnight, fantastic game. I absolutely recommend playing it. If you have access to Game Pass, play it. It is a lot of fun. The charm is really cool. The art style is really cool. And one thing that is going to go super underappreciated, but please do not overlook, is the music and the soundtrack. It is quite literally one of my favorites of the year. And I don't think people are going to sleep on it too much, but like the soundtrack is so good. I was doing like some boss fights and the music was just like, I was vibing. It is so good. Unfortunately, in the music department, as well as a lot of other departments, it's going to get overshadowed by the next game I'm going to talk about, which is Clair Obscur Expedition 33, which, as far as I'm aware, is essentially taking over the internet. I think it has like the highest rated like Metacritic user score literally of all time. People that play it are raving that it's like one of the best things ever. Critics are raving that it's like one of the best things ever. Mark my words, this is probably your game of the year, especially because I did see that Grand Theft Auto 6 is delayed till next year, so that's not even going to be competition. I don't know what other competition Clair Obscur is going to have, but it's mark my words, whether it's my personal game of the year, obviously I don't know, I have 3 hours about, it's somewhere in between 3 and 4 hours, I forget if I rounded up or down when it came to my hours played, but it's going to be the game of the year. I'm just going to call my shot now. That is just what it's going to be, so be prepared for that. The music in this game is fantastic. The gameplay is fantastic, and I say this as somebody who is not very good at it. Clair Obscur is a turn-based RPG that has active elements, namely dodging and parrying, and I spent a decent amount of time trying to learn to parry, and there are still times where I'm trying to parry, and I just get hit, and, you know, it hurts. But yeah. I just recently reached an open world part of the game. Like, every time that I start to have a complaint, the game fixes it for me. So like in the intro, like you're not able to run, and I'm like, man, not being able to run feels really slow. And then as soon as you get to the next section, it's like you're able to run, and I'm like, oh, cool. And then I'm running, and then I'm like, oh, I'm having trouble navigating. Like I wish I had a map or something. And then I play a little bit more, and oh, there's a map now. So like literally anytime that I have a complaint, yeah, Clair Obscur just fixes that. Just like, oh, this is what you wanted. So yeah, the game's pace, you know, fantastic. It knows what it's doing, and I trust it with my life. The art style, the music, everything about it is fantastic. One thing, or an extra thing that I want to bring up is I absolutely love the developers of this game, and I feel like this is the type of project that should be supported because they multiple times, so I mean the price point is one thing. They didn't charge full $60, $70, $80 price for this game because they wanted people to play it. They put it on Game Pass because they wanted people to play it. You can tell that they're very passionate about games and people just playing and experiencing their game, and it's not just about making money. Also, I have seen multiple articles of them like praising other games, such as the Oblivion remaster that came out, such as the 100 Line Left Defense Academy. I think I saw something that they're like, yeah, after you play our game, you should play this game too. Like they are supporting other developers and just like gaming space in general, and it's just very positive. You can just tell how passionate they are about gaming and the game that they make, the game that they made, and yeah, that's the type of stuff that I would want to support, and it is such a nice breath of fresh air, especially from like the AAA like gaming space where everything is just money, and how big can I make this? How many DLCs can we add to this? You know, all that sort of stuff. All the problems with AAA gaming. Clair Obscur really just doesn't have that, and it's very refreshing, and I'm glad that it is getting the recognition that it is, and I'm glad that it's as good as it is. Obviously, I can't say as much from first-hand experience because I haven't only put a few hours into it, but I am getting vibes that it's going to be my obsession. I've been jamming along to the music. This is probably going to end up being my favorite soundtrack of the year. As much as I like the South of Midnight soundtrack, Clair Obscur is just miles away better than almost anything I've ever heard in my life. It's insane. So, yeah, that has been my experience so far, and I'm excited to see how my opinions continue to change and evolve, because I think there's probably going to be parts of this game that I struggle with, but I think it's going to be worth it because I've been having so much fun so far, so why would that change? Who knows? Alright, now we get to talk about the 2 backlog games. Oh my gosh, I feel like I played a lot this week. We still have so much more. So we will start with Chrono Trigger. Like I said, I have been using a walkthrough of sorts to at least check like where I am. Anytime that you save in Chrono Trigger, it has a title for like what, you know, quote unquote chapter that you're in, and I can use that to figure out about how far I am through the game. I think I'm about 10 hours of playtime, and I know this is listed at 27. I think I'm going to hit the under on that because I noticed that I do a lot of just like main game stuff and not a lot of main game plus extra. The playtime that I put on this list is for main game plus extra on how long to beat. So that's like the frame of reference, but I think I'm hitting the under in a lot of these games because I'm playing the main game of a lot of them without doing some of the extras, and that just is what it is. That's how I enjoy games. Once I see credits roll, I feel like it's kind of hard for me mentally to want to keep doing more because I hit an endpoint. Like, I want to start a new starting point with another game because I just love playing games. So there's been that, but yeah, that's been very helpful. The other thing is there has been a couple times that I've had to use the walkthrough for Chrono Trigger, just because if this is the only game you're playing, it's not that it's confusing or hard to figure out where to go, but if I play Chrono Trigger and then I play, like, I set it down, and then I play South of Midnight, and then I play Blueprints, and then it's been 2 days and I didn't play a game, and then I'm picking up Chrono Trigger like 3 days later, and I need to go return to somebody, like maybe generally I'll save like right outside of a dungeon or something like that. Maybe I go in that dungeon, get an item, and then it's like, oh, we need to take this back to this person. Do I remember where that person is? Maybe. Sometimes I do, but sometimes I don't want to wander around in-game and be wrong, so sometimes I'll double-check my answer with the answer sheet, meaning like a walkthrough online. So it's not always that I need it to guide me where to go, but sometimes I'm just like, well, I think I'm right, but just in case I'm not, let me look it up to be safe. And I don't really have any shame in doing that. That's mostly because I'm juggling multiple games. I think if Chrono Trigger was the only game I was playing, I might not have to do that, but it is something that I have been doing. But the game has been incredible. I kind of expected, or I kind of thought that I was going to get a lot more characters to play as, but it's been a pretty small roster of characters, and I think that is probably for the best, just with the ways that they team up with each other. I have pretty consistently been using, well, you have to use Chrono, but I've been using Robo pretty consistently. Right now, at the point of the game I'm in, I have to use Frog. But I like doing damage, and both Frog and Robo can heal. There's been a couple of tricky bosses, but I've been able to not get stuck on any of them for too long. I have plenty of money, which helps replenish items, like healing items, as well as like ethers or whatever that restore the MP. I've needed to use some of those. So, yeah, being able to have access to all that, as well as trying not to skip too many optional fights, like trying to fight as many things as I can so I can get a bunch of experience. Yeah, Chrono Trigger has been a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to playing more. I do think that, to tie back into the playtime, is I think Chrono Trigger is a game that has a lot of different endings. I think I'm just going to try and get for one ending, and then it might be a game that I just look up all the endings like on YouTube afterwards, because I don't know that I want to play through again and again and again to get different endings. That's just not my vibe, but I do appreciate what it's going for. The game looks incredible. The game sounds incredible, especially considering the time that it came out. I can confidently say that it really holds up, and this is a classic that, you know, should be played and is held in high regard for a very good reason. So yeah, Chrono Trigger has been fantastic experience so far, and I'm looking forward to playing more of it. All right, my voice is still, it's struggling to survive, but we're gonna make this work. As for the last time, we talk about The Last of Us Part 2. I have finished the game, and I have so many thoughts. So let me, for non-spoilers, let's get my overall vibe check, which is, as a game, I don't love the gameplay. I love the narrative for the most part, in terms of it made me think about it a lot, in ways that I don't engage with other video game narratives as much. It did things that were pretty unique to the game, and that I don't see other games and stories going for. And so I have a lot of respect for this game. I have a lot of love for this game, but there's also some things I don't like, and I also think I have some opinions that the internet might not like. So we'll see. I have not started to watch the HBO show. I do want to, so I do want to do that. But there's a little bit of, you know, Last of Us 2 discourse, you know, about to, well, if it hasn't already, it's been about to reappear. But after I beat the game, I was like, let me start engaging in some of this discourse just by looking up like what people were saying, what the general vibes are, and I think mine are a little bit different. So I'm gonna go ahead and just start talking about spoilers. So if you do not want to be spoiled on The Last of Us Part 2, then skip to you do not see any gameplay anymore, and that is your warning, because everything is being laid bare. I beat this game on Sunday night, I believe. I think it was Sunday. So I've had a few days to think about my feelings. I really just kind of sat down and played like the last like 4 or 5 hours, like almost in one sitting. I think I split it between like playing like 2 hours and like eating and then like playing the rest of it. And the game did a lot of things that I like and a lot of things I don't like. So first thing, as a game, what I noticed is, especially as it went through, the amount of enemies and the types of enemies would get bigger, stronger, more of them, and I don't love fighting a lot of enemies at once or a lot of monsters. The human enemies are better because they are more predictable. The monster enemies are harder to deal with just because sometimes some of them you can sneak up and just like kill them from behind. Some of them you can't unless you have like a specific like item or whatever, which means some areas it feels like I have to like shoot them, and then if I cause noise then I might have like 5 other zombies running my way. It's not that big of a deal when there's just like 3 of them in the area, but there were certain sections where there was like 10 of them, which is crazy. The very final, again, I'm just gonna stick to gameplay sections right now. The final part, which is Ellie going down to Santa Barbara and infiltrating this like compound of like this prison or whatever. There's people literally everywhere, and granted, it only took me 2 tries to actually get through. It just felt like it was near impossible. I thankfully was able to avoid a decent chunk. I think I got to a final section where I just kind of sprinted to the end and, you know, got it to go. That's another thing, is especially when it came to the monster enemies, there was just a few times where I'm just like, yeah, I'm just gonna like sprint through. There was a couple times where that worked, a couple times where it didn't. But the fact of the matter is, I didn't really want to engage with the gameplay all that much. I enjoyed exploring. I enjoyed the characters' banter. But anytime it was a combat, I almost was like, oh, I can't wait for this to be over. So as a game, I don't know if that's the best thing, but yeah. So narrative stuff, I guess. So I played through all of Abby's story. I see the culmination of Ellie's story. I thought it was very interesting. Ellie was turned into a boss fight that you have to fight against, and I guess I've heard that people were not excited about that. They were conflicted. They didn't want to fight Ellie or take her out or whatever. I didn't feel that way, only because that didn't feel like a conflict that was going to end in one of them dying. And if it did, it kind of felt like Abby would be the one to die. So I wasn't playing as Abby expecting to just kill Ellie. And so for me, I thought it was an interesting gameplay moment. I did have some struggles because I noticed I think I was just getting too close to Ellie. I would sneak up behind her, and then I would see the prompt, but then I was still holding forward when I hit square, and then Ellie would just turn around and kill me. So once I figured the right way to do it, I actually had a lot of fun with the boss fight. It was interesting, especially for a game like this where, it's not like a traditional boss fight in other games where you have a bunch of weapons and they have like a health bar. Like, it's not the same thing. So that was a pretty apparently controversial part of the game that I thought was handled well. But yeah, so this game, it gave me a whole lot of backlash, and specifically the ending part gave me a lot of backlash. So I went from being frustrated at that Ellie boss fight for a minute. Then I kind of fell into kind of enjoying it. Then afterwards, this game, out of all of the moments that this game had, all of the people that you're close to that die, all of the crazy things that happened, only one thing broke me, and it was when Ellie is just at the farm and she's just doing farm tasks and then starts going into a very vivid, like, PTSD type breakdown thing. Something about it felt so real and so vivid. Like, I was literally in tears, literally started crying, because I'm just like, that is insane. And I think it's more insane because I'm just like, there's people that go through that. Like, that's a real thing. And it felt so vivid, and it felt scary. And the game captured that in a really good way. But then it kind of ping-ponged backwards to probably one of my least favorite things, and this is the thing that is going to tie everything all together, I feel, is then Ellie deciding to go back after Abby. So I don't remember, after the theater incident where Abby and Ellie are fighting or whatever, I don't remember the resolution, and everybody just kind of like leaves, then just cuts to Ellie living a happy life with Dina, her child, all that, and then Abby's just nowhere to be found. So I was like, okay, So they must have just made up or something. But like, no, Ellie was offered like a chance to go find Abby, and she took it immediately. And I guess my problem, and I'm not saying that it's not realistic, but I still don't really understand why Ellie was so hellbent on killing Abby. I just don't. And the reason why I don't is because the game, I don't feel, did a good job of giving her enough motivation. So the facts of the matter are that Joel killed Abby's dad, as well as also killing any chance for a vaccine or a cure to save humanity. At least within the narrative of the game, there's no other doctor that is able to do that. So that is what Joel did. Abby killed Joel as a form of revenge, but also had support from her group, which I think part of that reason is because he, I don't think it was just to support Abby. It was also like, hey, but he also like doomed humanity, essentially. So there's that. And then, like, Ellie, wants to take revenge on Abby. Sure, the war continues, the cycle of revenge, yada, yada, yada. Logically, obviously, that never solves anything because somebody's always going to want revenge on somebody if you go down that route. But at the time and throughout the game, I kind of understood. What I don't understand is the entire game, Ellie clearly understands why Joel was killed. She also didn't they never show her, liking Joel in this game. Every single scene with her and Joel is her giving him the silent treatment, the cold shoulder, giving him an attitude, yelling at him, saying that she doesn't need him, all of these things. There might be guilt associated with that. Maybe that's where this is coming from. But time and time again, she was shown to not really want... It's not that she wanted Joel there, but she also, she didn't agree with Joel's decision to save her. She would have happily given up her own life to save humanity. Her decision was taken away. She was mad at Joel, never forgave Joel for that. And as a result, she, this is a period of years and years where she's, not really close to Joel anymore. She is kind of by, necessity, but not by, it's not, out of love, I guess. And so when she's so hellbent when killing Abby as a result, to the point that she kills all of Abby's friends, which get in her way, whatever. But she does that. She kills so many people that she otherwise probably wouldn't have. And then finds, has this whatever with Abby at the theater. Doesn't kill her then, because again, I don't really, they just kind of cut and both of them are separated. So, I don't know why, but there must have been a reason, or somehow Abby got away, or whatever, but Ellie didn't kill her then. Just to then go back and be like, no, I still need to finish this because killing her is gonna, end your nightmares or something. Which I feel like she probably, if she thought about it for, 2 seconds, should probably know that that's not going to solve anything. And then that kind of made me mad, because then I'm playing as Ellie, and I'm, searching for Abby, trying to track her down, and, I don't really want to. And by the time that she finds Abby, her hair is cut. She looks awful. She's been through hell. She's been in prison for months. The conditions that she's been in, terrible. But Ellie still wants to kill her. I don't know if this is just me, but I'm kind of the mindset that generally, suffering and pain and whatnot, and staying alive is sometimes a lot worse than death. Death is kind of, it can be an easy out, oh, you did this, now you die. But you did this, now you have to, now you're suffering months of torture. That's kind of worse. And seeing Abby like that, I don't know. Playing as Ellie, that's just no, I see her like this and I still want to fight her and kill her, is wild. And then she almost does, just to not follow through with it. At the very end, the very last second, she gets a flash of seeing Joel, or what she thinks Joel would or would not approve of, and then just stops and lets her go. And that's it. That's the end. So, okay. So she can't commit to either side. She can't commit to wanting to kill Abby, but then she doesn't commit to nice, happy life that she would have had with Dina and her son, that she might or might not still have. It doesn't seem like Dina was kind of open, welcoming her back with open arms when she came back. So I just find Ellie's story weird, mostly because the motivation to kill Abby just didn't seem strong enough by the end of the game. At the start of the game, it made sense, but once it was revealed that Ellie knew all the connections, all of the reasons, and still wanted to go through with it, killed all of Abby's friends, saw the state that she was in, saw that Abby was trying to do better. I don't know. It just didn't sit with me the right way. So, yeah, this game, I feel like a lot of people that play it are, there's, oh, you're Team Ellie, or, oh, you're Team Abby. Like, if you come at this game and you think that Ellie is 100% right, Abby's 100% wrong, you're stupid. If you think that Abby's 100% right and Ellie's 100% wrong, you're stupid. This game is not a tale of one side being right. This game, and one of the reasons that I do like the narrative, is it shows that, there's two sides to everything. Everybody is doing what they think is right, and there are good and bad. There is good and bad in everybody and in everybody's decisions. So it's very nuanced in terms of, like, do I agree or disagree with certain actions? That's not to say that either of them are free from consequences or free from guilt or whatever, but I definitely connected with Abby's story more. I feel like this game just told Abby's story better. She had a classic sort of tale of, she was involved in this group. Maybe they weren't doing the best thing, but she found some kids. She was, taking care of them, was able to save one of them, and, is trying to do better. Ellie comes and Abby's just like, I don't want to fight you. And that's stuff that I respect a little bit more. So, I don't know. It's interesting to me that when I looked it up afterwards and, the internet is like, oh, Abby's a monster, deserves nothing. It's like, did we play the same game? Did you play the game to the end? If you stop playing right when she kills Joel, then sure, she's a monster. But if you keep playing to the end, I don't know how you feel that way. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And that's part of why I don't want to be too harsh on Ellie's story either, just because I don't understand the heavy motivation, but at the same time, I saw the nightmares that she was experiencing. And if that's how she lives every single day, and she thinks there's literally anything she can do to make it stop, it's not that I don't understand it. I do. I just wish it was told a little bit better. It's really tragic to see Ellie, a character who I do really like, I think overall, not really get a happy ending. Like, she just sinks further and further into this despair, descent, and there's no magic fix, and maybe that's just the point, because in life sometimes there's no magic fixes. But I don't know, I wanted more. Abby got, like, a much better story, and one that I liked a lot more. And Ellie didn't really get that, which is, very unfortunate. But she also could have had that, because she had a nice farmhouse with Dina, with a whole farm she was taking care of, with a child that was going to rely on her. I don't know. It's just weird. It's just weird to me. So, I mean, I could keep rambling on and on. If there are thoughts that you have that you want to put in the comments, by all means, I can try to give more of my thought processes and opinions on that. But yeah, it's overall, like, this is a story that I've continued to think about since I stopped playing. It made me think a lot while I was playing. It really just had a hold on me more than most games that I play. So for that, I absolutely love The Last of Us Part 2, but it's obviously has some issues, and I think I've highlighted some of my issues there. There's probably some other things that I forgot about, didn't mention. These videos aren't, like, scripted, so I had a general idea of the things I wanted to hit, and I think I hit them. So hopefully I didn't miss too much. I will highlight Lev. Lev is great. Love Lev, and love that, I mean, the game, highlights stories of trans characters even when they don't have the language to describe that for themselves. I thought that was really cool. And I thought it was really neat that Lev gets to survive, even if he didn't always make the best decisions, like going back to his mom. Maybe not the smartest. That gameplay section, though, where the island, the whole haven is, like, on fire, and you're, like, riding the horse, that whole section's peak. That was peak gameplay. That's another thing with the gameplay, is, like, you had, like, this boss fight, which was, like, frustrating, and then it was good, and then, but that moment was, like, the best gameplay moment of the entire game, for sure. I love that. The cinematics, the scene of just, like, everything burning, you, like, running through, you're, like, trying to escape. I don't know, I just thought it was fantastic. But yeah, and then it transitions to like more gameplay sections that I wasn't as much of a fan of. So it kind of ping pongs back and forth. Overall, this is a game that I like. This is a game that I'm probably going to keep thinking about. It's going to be one that's very hard to rank, but I still would like to do, you know, a ranking of sorts at the end of the year. But we'll see how that patches into it. It is a game that really had a grip on my mind with the story. But all right, this is the longest video that I've made so far this year as part of this journey. So let's go ahead and wrap everything up as I give you a preview of this next week, which is going to be week 19. Fantastic. Like I said, there are no new games coming out that I'm interested in until the end of May, and that's the Elden Ring Night Rain that I'm only half committed to even really playing. So we'll see. That's also not like a story game, so that can just kind of be played throughout the year regardless. So I have a really good opportunity to, you know, play some of these games. My priority is going to be South of Midnight because I'm pretty close to the end. I think that I will be done with it probably by this weekend, which is exciting. I do think that the next time that I play Split Fiction is going to be the last time I play Split Fiction. And then that is going to really just cut it down to just like blueprints when I feel like it. I'll be able to put a decent chunk of time into Clair Obscur Expedition 33. I will keep playing Chrono Trigger, and I think that's going to open up an opportunity to finally start playing some of the games on the backlog that I have been saying that I'm going to start, such as Spider-Man Miles Morales, such as Life is Strange 2, and such as Uncharted 2. Those are the next 3 on the docket, and I am probably going to start playing at least one, if not all of them, at some point this week. So that is what I expect to happen. I don't think there's any events happening, nothing too much that is worth bringing up. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, let me know. If you have opinions on my opinions or anything that I could clarify better, because that did feel a little bit rambly, feel free to comment, ask, what have you. Yeah, this has been a very interesting week, and I think this next week is going to be very productive, and I'm excited for it. So hopefully you are excited for me to continue this journey as well. If so, let me know, but I will see you next week as I will be recapping, what, week 19? Yeah. So that's super exciting, but I will see you then. Goodbye.